So Instagram is really only for photos and videos, unlike Facebook where I can just make a comment and
Correct.
I can post anything.
But on Instagram, you can just make a comment on somebody's picture.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you see a picture that you like, you can hit the little heart and you can like it, and then you can write a comment on it.
Okay.
And that's also how you start finding people to follow, so you can start making your base bigger. Now, one of the interesting things about hashtags on Instagram is once you start using hashtags, when you start typing them in, it will auto-populate. And so you don't have to keep typing in the same ones because it'll pop up. It'll also show you how many people use that hashtag. So if you're using Maryland Realtor, it may come up and say 33,000 posts or something like that. So you know it's a heavily used hashtag. So there's advantages to using a heavily used hashtag, and then there's also advantages of using a unique hashtag. So you want to combine the two. Okay, so.
So you can brand yourself, right? I mean, obviously, if you start
Yes.
the unique, that's almost like a blank slate, and from there, you can kind of begin how you take that search option down that down the road, right?
Correct. So you start building up that brand. And the brand, since Jeremy brought it up, we'll talk a little bit about brand. You really have to understand what is your brand. And that really means, what is your story? So, do you have a story? Jane?
I have a hashtag that nobody is using. That's what I have right now.
What's your hashtag that no one's using?
My name, Jane Sutcliffe. There's only 3 on Instagram and there's none on Facebook. So don't you all start using. Or go ahead and start using, actually, right? Go ahead and start.
Yes.
Hashtag me, Jane Sutcliffe.
Find her.
Find
her that way. So, what is your brand? Is your brand your name?
Like who you are, like your lifestyle?
Yeah, it's sort of like everything. But your brand, you want to look at it, how are people going to perceive it? So sometimes we have to sit back and say, what makes me different from everybody else? Because a brand, we need to stand out. I mean, I'm an instant brand because of my name again, because it's unique. But most of us aren't an instant brand, so we have to create that brand. And since we're all real estate agents, how can you guys make yourselves different than other real estate agents? What is it that you do unique that other people don't? Okay, let me pick on you, Amos. What is your unique thing? What is it that you do different than other real estate agents? How do you get your clients? Do you have clients?
Yes.
Okay, so where do you get them from?
Usually through referrals.
So it's word of mouth.
Yes.
So obviously you do a good job.
I like to think so, yeah.
Well, you must, because you get
I do.
referrals.
Yes.
So then you take pride in what you're doing. So what is it that you're doing different than everyone else is doing?
I think it's pretty, I mean, I hate to simplify or oversimplify it, but
Simplify it.
saying please and thank you, being on time, and doing what I say I'm going to do.
Having manners.
Those are the 3 things, and so many people don't get that done.
That ranks right up there with being a gentleman, right? Which we know Jeremy is. And that kind of stuff actually goes a long way with people. So you can build a whole brand just around that by using that in your posts. I always like it when somebody holds the door for me. Even though I'm a very strong woman, I can do the door myself. I like it when someone holds the door for me because I feel like it's a gesture. So I always make sure to say thank you, so that they know that I recognize and appreciate the gesture. Because that's what it is. It's not a male-female thing, I don't think. Because there's times I hold doors for people. Men, it's not a male-female thing anymore. It's just a gesture. So those are the kind of things that we can actually do online. We can do gestures of good manners, gesture of good faith, gesture of, whoa, I can't say that word anymore, of follow through. So you can talk about that. You can also have your clients write recommendations on your Facebook business page and ask them to write down, what do they like about you? Why did they go with you? And that starts helping you understand your brand. So sometimes the best way to understand yourself is to ask other people, how do they perceive me? When you write a resume, they say the best way to see whether your resume gets the point across is to give it to somebody that doesn't know what you do for a living. Give it to them and see if they can figure out what kind of job you're looking for. Because if they can't get it from your resume, you're not pulling your brand through. So ask other people, how do you perceive me? What do you see are my good qualities? What do you think makes me a good real estate agent? Start asking those questions, and that way you'll start figuring out what is your brand. Because you'll start recognizing, because you may start hearing the same word over and over. I tend to keep hearing the same word, crazy, over and over, because that's how people tend to describe me. Is, you know, a little crazy, a little off kilter, no boundaries. No boundaries. Today I have boundaries. I'm sitting still.
Sitting still, you haven't gone out of focus once, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm like being good. But I like the high chair because it still makes me feel powerful. Yes.
I know as home inspectors, we try to tell the story of a home in a very calm manner. That's kind of like what our brand is, and we have many certifications, so we're kind of like a one-stop shop. But a lot of the realtors will actually endorse us and put something up and tag us on it on Facebook, and we in turn do the same for agents that use us a lot. We tend to, you know, and we'll do little gestures like sending out cards to thank them for their referral or for using us. It's
and thanking them on Facebook, making it a public thing.
Yes, it's just showing, like a picture of our inspector actually in the home doing something. Yeah. It's the endorsement, and, you know, we all work together. So
it's like, thank you to so-and-so who let me inspect their house today. Or thank you for the referral.
Yes.
No, Darcy told one of her other agents and I got a referral. You know, thank you, Darcy, for doing that. It is those gestures. When Twitter first came out, way back, where was it, 2003? Oh, you're saying 7 and you don't know.
I got on in 2007 and I thought it was brand new. So.
No, I think it was like 2000, it was either 3 or 4. But when it first came out, when people would hear about it, newscasters were actually talking about it, and they were saying, yeah, you put down there what you're having for lunch. Which is really sort of crazy, because people really weren't doing that. And they were talking about, yeah, it's a way that you can connect with your friends and say, yeah, I'm here, and then they can come meet you here. And it really wasn't that. Twitter was just a place to have a conversation. But what happened was we started creating our brand with Twitter. And one of the things that we always did is when somebody followed you, you would always write them a tweet back and connect with them, do the @ and whatever their handle is, and thank them for the follow. That was back when there wasn't so many people and we could actually thank people. So we always did that, and we always felt that if somebody didn't do that back, oh, that was awful. But then what came out is the Autobots came out. So where it automatically thanked you. And we all were appalled when people used that. We're just like, God, they're not really knowing social media. They're not even doing it personally. You know, that's like having a team of people doing your social media. You know, what? That's not truly you then. So we all, you know, didn't like people that did the Autobots. But it's the gesture, and it's what we write. It's not just that we're writing, it's what we're writing. It's just like how you communicate. You tend to say thank you. You tend to just, people really appreciate being thanked. Yes?
My name is George Schwab. I'm with Keller Williams.
Hi, George.
Realty. Hi. Just kind of following up with that, is there, I'm sure there is, but is there companies that can, like, I don't have time to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Yes, me.
Come on, it's just all over.
I do that.
It's just, I mean, just so much. Is there a company that you can hire?
Me.
Because I know there's a company that just
Me.
Facebook. I understand. You know, but I mean, and then just flood the market with your brand and just get everybody, and then that way.
Me.
Okay, so, but is it, I mean, you do that?
That's
Is
what
there
I
more
do.
other people that do that, or?
Yes, there is a lot of companies. I tend to specialize in real estate agents.
Okay.
I have a lot of clients that are real estate agents. What the key is that people do not know they're using me. That's the key. Like if I took over your brand, people wouldn't know that I was doing it for you.
I don't need anybody to do my website. I got that covered.
But you want your social media
I want
done.
the social media just flooded, and I want all the bells and whistles and all that kind of stuff, but I don't want to have to do it.
Yeah, because it really is, it's a lot
All
of,
the business that comes from
And
it.
now all the business that comes.
it's a lot of research to actually do it. And when social first started, everyone was like, it's free, it's free, it's free. But you know, my time isn't free.
Right.
And you have to look at that. How many hours is it going to take me to do that? And how much am I valued an hour? So I charge clients $175 an hour. And so that's my value. So if I can't reach that value in what I'm doing, then I'm going to have somebody else do it. I'm going to bring in a virtual assistant, or I'm going to bring in someone that specializes in that, because we have to do what we do good. And when we don't do something good, we need to hand it off to somebody that does it good. So if you're not a bookkeeper, should you be doing your books? Yeah, give it to a bookkeeper. Then the handoff to the accountant is very easy. It's just, we want to use professional people. So yes, there are people out there. And first what we do is we establish what your brand is, and then we start figuring out what platforms you should be in and what should the messages be on those different platforms. But the bigger picture is, why are we there? You know, what's the end goal? And usually the end goal for everything social media related is to get clients, to get money. So you get lost in Facebook because you're looking at your friends, but most people are there to make money in one form or another. Yes, Jeremy?
All right, so I have a question that's following up to what George was saying. You hear the term SEO out there all the time.
Search engine optimization.
Correct. And it's good and bad. Some folks say, well, that's not organic, so it really doesn't bring you business, or that can actually reduce your rankings within Google. How does that happen? I thought any social media would help. How would you?
No, and one of the things that you always got me on was you were always telling people that I did SEO. I don't do SEO. Search engine optimization is when you get on somebody's website and you put in their keywords to make them rank on pages. And that used to be the thing that always worked with Google, because that gave you Google juice. But Google has changed its algorithms. You can't game the game anymore. You can't do that. And so search engine optimization is so different than what it used to be. Now, it really isn't anything. It really isn't. So what Google now looks at, social-wise, on your website, is how legitimate is this post? Have they posted about this stuff in the past? Do they seem to be an authority on it? And are they consistent? Those are the type of things that Google looks at. So it isn't anymore your keywords. It's how are you using that keyword? So Google has all this intelligence in its algorithm. So instead of trying to figure out how can we game the system, we just get back to what I was saying, just do you. And then that works. Because SEO is just not there anymore. But when you do a website, you of course want to use particular phrases and locations. It's like if you do a website and you do all of your work in Frederick and you don't one time mention the word Frederick, that's a problem. You know, you should mention those things. Yes?
Speaking of websites, so most of us have websites, and then we have all this social media. But my website, at least, it points to social media, but social media doesn't show up on the website. So
correct.
Is that the way people are doing it now? That's kind of like more or less not static web page, but there's no interaction. Like I might put something on a blog, and then I'll do a Twitter post about it.
Well, there's all kinds of apps out there that you can have your website populate with your social media.
Is that useful, do you think?
It really depends on what are you looking for and what are you hoping to gain from that. So websites should never be static. Never. They should always be moving. The picture should always be changing. The words always need to be changed. And that is also something that's very important to Google, is that it's not a static page. It used to be we made a website, we didn't touch it again for 3 years. We just left it there. Everyone remembers those times, right? Doesn't work anymore. Now we need to maintain it, touch it, do something with it, update it in some way. Now, having it populate with social media posts, it sort of is, what's your audience and why are you doing it? What's the demographics? Now, as a real estate agent, there is an app out there that you can have it do the, you guys don't call it the MLS, what do you call it?
MRIs.
Oh, MLS, okay. So it will populate with MLS new listings. Or it will populate with your listings.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of little apps that you can connect into your website, but it also depends on how your website is built, because if your website is connected to your broker and you are just a page, then it becomes different dynamics. Now, if you have your own URL and you sit over here and you're self-hosted, then you can start doing other things, but it also depends. Are you built in WordPress, or is it HTML? Is it completely code? So there's all kinds of, like this big can that we're opening up. So even though all this stuff goes together, it's actually a lot to get your hands around. It's a lot, but they all sort of interweave. And you have to think about that when you're doing social, is that what I do here may show up here. So I need to make sure that what I put here is okay to go here. Because your demographics of whom you're speaking to on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn is very different.
What is Twitter's demographic?
Twitter's demographic used to be hip techie people. We get out there, we talk to people. There used to be a lot of authors. It was a great way to connect with your favorite author of a book, because they were out there on Twitter and you could have all these great conversations. So it was all about the conversation, and you could jump into conversations and jump out of conversations. You could also have direct messages, so you could do all kinds of things with it. It was a very valuable site, a lot of communication, a lot of things passing back and forth. Now Twitter is very noisy. There's a lot going on, and it's mostly people advertising. So it's hard to get through all that noise and see what you really want to go to. So I don't always recommend Twitter unless you're really willing to work it hard. And you have to work it hard. So my husband decided he was going to do a Twitter account. My husband does not do social media. He has no idea about social media. He does cyber forensics. So he knows about social on that end, but doing it for himself, he has no idea. So we made up his Twitter account, we talked about it, and then I was finding out that he was spending pretty much all day on Twitter. Trying to find followers, and then he would announce it to me. He'd send me a text, 68 followers, and I'm like, and how much work did that take you to get those 68 followers? You know, and the next day I get a text message, 71 followers. It's just so funny, but that's how hard Twitter is. It's really hard to get an audience. It's really hard to get a valuable audience. So unless you're willing to put a lot of hours into it, I mean, he was on it like 4 hours a day, just like deep in it. And I'd come home and he'd still be on Twitter, and I'm like, what are you doing on your computer? I'm doing Twitter. It's like, okay. But he got a little obsessed with it, but then now he isn't doing it. He dropped it because it was too hard. Yes?
Can social media like replace a website, or?
Yes. Yes, you can have. Nowadays, you don't have to have a website. You can easily use social as your website and have all the information there on your Facebook page. There's also all kinds of apps that you can do that add additional pages to your Facebook page. You can even do can't think of the word, little games, you know, where people can sign up on your email list.
Oh, really?
Yes, so you can have an email list in MailChimp, which is free, and you can have them sign up on your Facebook page, and it'll go right to MailChimp, and then you can start sending mailers from the MailChimp account. So there's all kinds of ways that you can do it without having a website. So nowadays, you don't have to have a website. It used to be you weren't legitimate unless you had a website. Nowadays, everyone has a website, so it says nothing. It doesn't say I'm legit because I have a website. And actually, when I look at a website, the first thing I do is look at the bottom and see what year was it built, and then I research the person that built the website. Because what you say on that website does not mean anything to me. What means to me is the background. Why did you choose this person? Is this person good, or is this person your nephew? And that makes me judge how serious you are. So if you call me and say, I want to have a meeting with you because I want to see about maybe having you do the social stuff, the first thing I'm going to do is research everything about you. It takes me about 3 hours of work to have an hour in front of you. So I research everything about you so that when you come in, I know everything. And I'm saying I know everything. Because I will bust into your accounts if I have to. Because that's what white hats do. Because I want to test it and see how strong is it or how loose is it so we can then make adjustments to it. Oh, I thought you had a question, Larry. You had no scratching. Yes.
And how much time do you think would be a reasonable amount of time to devote to social media every day?
15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening.
That's it.
But you have to have an editorial calendar.
What is that?
An editorial calendar is, well, do you want to explain an editorial calendar since I've taught you how to do an editorial calendar?
I would love to. So editorial calendar is where you, this is Jane Stuck with Legal Shield again.
Plug.
You determine what your markets are. And you have a year-long calendar, is what I remember. You have a year-long calendar, and you determine what you're going to focus on each month and what market. That way, when you're posting something, you've got a master plan of what market you're speaking to, and you're creating posts that match that market. And I think it was 7. We had to have 7 markets or
profiles.
Profiles, right. So, I mean, she had us, when I took her class, she had us even, what does that person look like? How do they spend their time? Like, what is your perfect customer? And then create a plan so that you're not 1 week saying, oh, you're not 1 week saying all of one thing, and the following week you're saying all of something else, but you're dripping on them appropriately, matching up with what you're looking for. So it's a master plan of how you're going to say, post, put things out there that will be heard by the person specifically that you're looking for. And then it's a plan that where you schedule out your posts throughout a year and what you're going to focus on each time. So it doesn't seem like you're random or 5 one day, nothing for 3 weeks kind of a thing.
Guys, you make me so proud.
I took her class, what, 2 years?
We don't even know how long ago, but
like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Defining who I was with at the time.
Yeah.
That guy 2 years ago.
So an editorial calendar, the easiest way to put it together is to first think of 12 different topics that you can talk about in a month. Break it down by 12. Usually we can come up with 12 topics pretty easily. Then take each one of those topics and break it into 4 for the 4 different weeks of the month. So you may want to do, it can be as simple as Mondays we're going to do quotes. Tuesdays we're going to do help, to-dos or not to-dos, how-tos. On Wednesdays we're going to do local events. So you can determine all of this stuff. And so then your topics for each one of those weeks will be what you picked. Now what she was talking about the profiles is I actually have you make up 9 profiles of 9 different clients. Different age ranges, different price ranges, different types of personalities. Because all we do is we take our best clients and that's what we write a profile to. So that way, every time we post, we pick a different profile to speak to. Because each demographic has a different voice, correct? This way you're not randomly pulling it out of your head. You're actually looking at that particular profile and having a conversation with that person. So today you may talk to the first-time buyer. Tomorrow you may be talking about couples that are retiring. So that way it's a mixture of everything, but yet you're hitting all the marks. And 9 seems to always be the key number. And this is basic marketing that we learned way back when I went to college, which I don't need to tell you guys when. It was a long time ago. I don't even remember it actually now. But building the profiles, actually becomes a key part of what you're doing, of what your master plan is. So doing the editorial calendar and doing the profiles, and I would suggest keeping it like in a notebook. And once you have your topics, when you're out surfing the web, you may find articles about those topics. And this is when Evernote comes in. Evernote is one of these amazing apps that do everything. But you can make up files in Evernote, and then you can save those particular blog posts. So you'll have a file that says January and then whatever the subject is. And then you found something that's related to that, you just drop it in there. So when time to open up January, you just open January and you have all these posts already created. All these blog posts, all this information. So when you get organized, it actually allows you to do 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. But that does not count your social time of surfing. That counts straight business. That's opening up your notebook, looking at the profile, looking at the topic, posting it. Reviewing what was said during the day, respond to any kind of questions, do any kind of research you want to do on what you may want to talk about tomorrow. That's it. 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. Other than that, you can go surfing all you want, but you can't count that as your business time. Yes, George?
George Schwab again, Keller Williams Realty. So what do you call that, the person like you? A social media manager? A social media, what's the title of that?
People call me a guru.
Yeah, but social media guru, is that what?
Yeah.
But if you were to look for somebody online to that does that.
Oh my God, he's hurting me. He's hurting me. You're going to look for people like content managers.
Oh, it's a content.
Because it depends. If you're looking for content for your editorial calendar, it's going to be more of a content manager. If you want social media, you're just going to look up social media because everybody uses different titles and different names.
So
I don't really
overarching title that's for this.
There really isn't.
Okay.
I mean, I call myself Chief Engagement Officer. Okay. So I'm a CEO, but it's Chief Engagement Officer because that's what I do. Is I create engagement for you or for myself or whomever I need to do it for.
Isn't it like a specified like marketing? So
yeah.
Like social media
but
marketing?
You have to also be careful about that because some people identify social media marketing as email marketing. And as you know, email marketing is very different than social media marketing. And it also then gets down to the platforms. Are you talking about Facebook marketing? Are you talking about LinkedIn marketing? Because it's very different. And also, just because you know how to do marketing doesn't mean you understand social media. They're very different animals. So some people that do marketing specialize in PR. Other people that do marketing specialize in social media. So it really depends, and marketing is a very broad topic. So you need to start asking the questions and dig down and say, okay, so what is it that you actually do? So when somebody asks me what I do, I say I do 3 things. I do social media strategy, social media training, and social media implementation. So those are the 3 things that I do for people. And the biggest thing I do is training. This kind of training, but usually I charge lots and lots of money, right?
Always worth it.
It's not really that much. And I did actually bring some postcards for you guys.
Is it easier for someone that's maybe a blank slate versus someone that has social out there?
Nope.
That just needs through? Okay.
Because somebody that's a blank slate, you have things to go up against because you have to build it. Right. If you have somebody that always has a social presence, now you need to clean it up. So you always have things that you're going to be up against. So when someone comes to me as a clean slate, I don't get all that excited. Because it's like, okay, we're going to have a lot of work to start from the beginning. And if you come to me and you already have a good social profile, then I'm like, okay, let's clean it up. So either way, it doesn't really matter. So if you're a blank slate, I'm not going to charge you less. I mean, that's it pretty much in a nutshell. Wasn't that what you were asking me, Jeremy?
I'm just trying to figure out because, again, you know, some of the platforms you've talked about, like I'm not involved with, you know, Facebook is the depth of my social media that's out there. And you need to be on LinkedIn. I do have a business page, and I do have, you know, a personal page. And that's mainly attributed to you. A few years ago, you told me, hey, you need to get with it. It's 2013. What are you doing in social media? So thank you for that heads up. But as I'm looking at some of those now, like, you're right, like LinkedIn is amazing. I hear
Yes.
it every day from even just my teammates, you know, some of the connections that are being made out.
You can get a lot of connections, and people get a lot of business off of LinkedIn because there's a lot of groups, and you can also answer a lot of questions for people, and you can start becoming an expert. And so it offers you a lot of value. But the biggest thing is, as a real estate agent, if you join groups that are not real estate related, you can become an expert in that group. So when people ask a real estate question, you can offer an answer. So if you join technical groups, you could be the only real estate agent talking to these techies.
Is this within LinkedIn?
Yep. So Facebook has groups, LinkedIn has groups, and there's different levels of groups. They can be private groups, they can be open groups. It really just depends on, you know, how you want to build them, because both platforms allow you to build them anyway. You're probably a member of some Facebook groups, correct?
I just joined Facebook like 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
honestly.
well, with joining, with joining Facebook, there's now groups. So think of it as a subset of Facebook, but they're usually groups that are specialty groups. And so it's just people that are talking about one particular topic. Like FCAR has a group, right? So it's only FCAR members or only FCAR subjects? Okay, because I think I'm part of that group, but I'm not a member of FCAR. Oh no, I just admitted something. No, really, I'm a member.
Make sure the membership committee gets a hold of you today. Don't worry.
No, don't make me join one more group, please.
Now, I'm on LinkedIn, but I really never use it. So
you don't work it?
No, I don't read it. So is it popular? Are people using it again? It seems to have kind of slid away.
No, it never has.
Okay.
LinkedIn is very popular. It's very powerful, but it's all in its own realm. It's not Facebook related.
It's like every day I get an email.
It's very, it's very professional. It's where you go for professionals. It's where you go to look for people. It's where you make contacts. So you may have contacts on there of people that you worked with 10 years ago. So remember when we used to go job to job and we used to have to take our Rolodex, our physical Rolodex with us? Remember that? I mean, George, you remember that, right?
I do.
You have to take your physical Rolodex. And I thought I was so cool when I had the double one, the double spinny rolly, you know, because that was, whoa, I had a lot of contacts. But you would physically carry that out. Well, with LinkedIn, you don't have to physically do that because everything is up on LinkedIn. So you know when friends of yours gets promotions or when they get new jobs, you can congratulate them. This is a way to stay in contact with people. So when you need something, you can reach out to them. Yes?
You also don't need a resume anymore with LinkedIn.
Correct. Because LinkedIn becomes your resume.
Does it connect with any other social media so that things will automatically...
Yeah, but you don't want to. There's a way that you can connect Twitter to it, but you're actually talking to a different demographics on Twitter than you are of LinkedIn. So the only time you really want to share information is from Instagram to Facebook or Twitter, because you're usually just posting a picture. But LinkedIn is a very different conversation, a very different animal than Facebook is. We used to always say that LinkedIn was the professional, Facebook was the personal, and Twitter went both ways. Now we just sort of back out Twitter and we say, you know, Facebook does business and personal in a light way, and LinkedIn does personal and business in a firm way.
So you're
that sounds pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. You post on LinkedIn business things the way you would on your Facebook page?
So I can stay top of mind with people if they need me. And I get, it's really sort of amazing how many recruiters I get that come after me. It's like, no, I work for myself, and no, I don't want to work for anybody. But I'm a hot topic right now. Social media is very hot. So they're always looking for people. Yeah, and security. And now that I got my CISSP, which I need to put up there, I know I'll get a lot of flow off of that because that's such a big, that was so hard to get. Oh my God.
Would you like us all to share that on our Facebook page?
That I'm CISSP certified? Are you guys even going to remember what that is?
What is that?
CSI,
What is that? Cyber or something?
I don't know, what that means.
It's a security professional. It's like
What's it stand for?
I can't remember what it is because now you guys all got me on the. But it's security related, and it's very technical, and it's very about theory of security, and so it's a lot of theory where. That's what CISSP is more the theory, and CISP is more of the implementation of it.
Certified Information System Security.
Thank you, system security professional. Thank goodness for Google.
Holy cow, salary requirements for these positions. Whoa.
That's why she gets the big
A lot of
bucks.
work.
It's a hard thing to get.
Congratulations on your recent certification.
really.
Thank you. Woohoo! I'm so excited. It's taken me so long.
People doing that.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So, are you spending your 15 minutes AM, PM organically doing whatever happened today, or are you systematically putting similar things on each social media site, making one personal, one more business? You're going from Instagram to LinkedIn to Facebook to Twitter to...
I have a system.
Okay.
And I use an app called Buffer, BUFFER.com. And when you post in Buffer, you can have it automatically post to other platforms.
Is that like OnlyWire and whatever that owl thing is called?
Hootsuite.
Yeah.
Well, Hootsuite was built more for monitoring, and then they added on the scheduling option. So it's not really built for straight scheduling. Buffer is built for scheduling. And so it really has great analytics behind it, and you have a lot of profiles that you can put in there. Now, nothing schedules on Instagram except for Grum.co. Grum.co is the only thing out there that will post directly to Instagram. Everything else will notify you and say, hey, you said you wanted to post on Instagram at this time, but it won't actually post. So Grum.co is the only one that does it. But I use Buffer.com that's what I constantly keep the Buffer full of information, so it's constantly flowing out in a specific time every day to the different platforms.
Same news, or
it depends. It depends, and you can have different buffers for each different platform. So it just depends on what you're talking about. Most of mine are social related, so they can go out, because if I do anything that's personal related, I don't run it through Buffer. So I go both ways. I use Buffer that consistently keeps everything going out, and then I jump on Facebook and add things in, or have conversations. Or somebody writes me a note and say, hey, that was a really good blog post, and then I'll write about it. I do not write blog posts, but I repost other people's blog posts. I hate writing. Yes?
This is Jane from Legal Shield again. I am a huge
plug.
I'm a huge fan of Buffer, and one way, just to give you an example of how to use it, you know how people do Throwback Thursdays, and right? Every week it's like, can you find a picture of Throwback Thursday? But you could just go through your photo album and go for whatever and create a bunch of Throwback Thursdays and schedule them. So then it's actually fun for you because you don't remember what it is. And so
and then they pop up and you go, oh!
Well, the notifications pop up. All these people liked, what was my post? I don't know. Let's go back and look. And then that's when you like your own post because you're surprised by it.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, that's right.
But it's just it's a nice system. So if you're going to have a day that's dedicated to X, you can research a whole bunch of X, schedule them specifically to pop up on a specific day, and it just makes your life
and a specific time. Right. And then you can look at the analytics and see who clicked on it or who just viewed it. So it's very powerful. And it's something that I use for all of my clients. I have like a business account, so I think I can do like 50 profiles or something like that. No, I think it's like 26. And you can build different groups, so you can do all different kinds of things. But it's really handy when you're doing hashtags and stuff, because you can just sit there in the evening time and grab these posts and schedule them and put in all the hashtags, and then it's like set it and forget it. You just sort of do it. And I do it every morning because I usually get up between 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then that's when I scour through everything. I scrape the internet. I do all the cool stuff to find it. I overwhelm myself with information, and then I choose what I'm going to post. But I do overwhelm myself with information. I'm always reading. I don't like to write, but I love to read.
For the personal account for Buffer, I think it's like $10 a month also.
Yeah.
And you can manage 4 or 5
profiles.
Profiles, yeah. LinkedIn, and then 2 Facebook pages or whatever.
Yeah, or Twitter, if you want. Yeah, we don't do Twitter, but it's nice for LinkedIn and it's nice for Facebook. It's really, it's one of these apps that have grown, and I've been with it since the very beginning, and it has grown and it's only gotten better and better, and they have a really good blog. The blog that they write is good information. Yes, Jeremy?
If you don't have, like a staple 3 to even use platforms to use something like Buffer on, in our industry, what would you say would be the go-to 3 to go out today and set up? Facebook, obviously, you've talked a lot about
Facebook,
that.
Personal and business,
Yep.
LinkedIn and Instagram. That's what I would say to do. I'm pushing everybody into the Instagram realm.
Right.
Because it's become very popular, very powerful, and it's also fun. It's also fun. But you can still do business, but it's a little lighter, and you can also let that creativity, just let that creative side of yourself sort of come out and do different things and make it sort of interesting. Sometimes I do shoe of the day, because I love having all my different shoes. Like I have the snakes on today. I have the snakes. Woohoo! My husband hates these shoes because he's always afraid of them. He's like, I hate snakes. I hate it when you wear those shoes. I don't like snakes, but I love snakeskin shoes. It's so exciting. So you can do all kinds of different original things that are about you. Yes?
From a security standpoint, on LinkedIn specifically, if there's people that you're friends with, I guess? Is it friends on LinkedIn?
Yeah, connections, contacts.
Connected.
Yeah.
Does it make a difference if you don't know them?
Okay, so if somebody sends you, like, let's connect on LinkedIn.
Yeah, you never met this person, you got no clue who they are.
I wouldn't do it. I don't do it because there's a lot of people out there that we call lions. And sometimes you'll see the word lion in the title. And these are people that just go after as many contacts as they can get. So I don't get why they do it, but I guess it looks good for them. But if I don't know you, I'm not going to connect with you on LinkedIn. And usually I'll look and say, well, why is this person sending me this? And I'll go look at their profile and I'm just like, this is some guy from Bangkok. Well, I don't know him. So no, then I kill it.
Delete, okay.
Yeah, just delete.
So,
only take the ones that you know, or you have met, or you went to a conference together, or something like that. You have some connection to them.
So then would you advise somebody who hasn't looked at that list of connections in a while to go back through and review and who I really know
and remove them.
And get rid of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because LinkedIn should be about your professional connections. And so I would think you really only want to have people that you know. The people that you don't know, it's like they're on the outside. And they're really not. You want to talk to your connections. And that's what LinkedIn was built for you to connect with people after you went to a conference. You come back with all these business cards, and then you can connect with them. And so then next year, when you're getting ready to go to the conference again, you connect with them and say, hey, you going? Yeah, maybe this time we'll share a room. It's just a different way to connect. It also is a great way to keep all those connections from all those different offices that you had, so you can always do the reach back to somebody. Or just congratulate somebody on a big promotion. And sometimes, well, not sometimes, a lot of times you find jobs. If any of you decide to go to jobs. Yeah.
People's skills, and they can endorse you too, so.
And you can write recommendations, and there's of course all kinds of groups and that sort of thing. Okay, so we have 15 minutes, and let's do free. Anything you want to ask me? Yes.
Could you talk about, back to Facebook, talk about check-ins and how we can use them for top of mind?
You have to be careful with check-ins when you're a real estate agent, because you can't check into every house. So you only want to check in when you go to an establishment. So let's say you're meeting a client at Starbucks. Should you check in?
Sure.
Yes.
What's a check-in?
So when you're on your mobile device and you open up Facebook, one of the options at the top will be check in. and you just hit it. It may have a list of places that are close by. You pick that one. You can write a little something, but you don't have to. And all it does is let people know that you're somewhere. There used to be all kinds of apps out there that we used to use all the time, but now we really don't use them. But using Facebook Check-in can be handy just to let people know that you're out there and you're working. You know, like every time you get to your office, check in. Because then it pops up to everyone and it says, oh, so-and-so is at their office. You go, oh, that's right. I was going to call them this week. And so it just gives you those little reminders. Yes?
I'm Patty. I'm with Village Settlements. Sorry about that. As I said, I just joined Facebook a couple weeks ago, and I am clueless. So I got a message from a friend who was buying a house. Is that message public?
It depends. Did they post it on your page, or was it a little private message, that little box that popped up?
I think it was a little box.
If it's a little box, it's private.
Okay.
It's only between those people that are invited to the conversation. Okay. So she's probably just talking to you. Now, if she posted it on your page, then it is public. If she notes it to be public, because she can control whether it's public or whether it's just to a certain group of people. So Facebook can get there's a lot of in the weeds when you get into it. There can be a lot of things. So I don't want to get too deep down, because then you'll feel really overwhelmed. Yes, but if it's a little box, then it's a private message. Okay. And that's just you two talking. Yes, George?
Do you recommend Boost? And is it safe from a payment standpoint? And
it's very safe from a payment standpoint. It's very secure. I think it has the level 5 security, which is the top. Okay. And Facebook is very good. They bill you through PayPal, mm-hmm. and PayPal, has a very good reputation. And they usually set it at like $25. So once you get up to $25, it usually bills you at that point. So you can just sort of set it and say, I want this campaign to run for, the next 3 weeks, and I want it to go this much every day. And that's a great way to just sort of set the campaign up and then walk away from it.
But as a guru, do you think it's worth it?
I think it depends on what you're boosting.
Okay.
It really depends on what you're boosting, how are you writing it, what pictures, are you having more than one picture, what area are you pushing it to, and what are your goals? So it gets very into the details of what it is.
Right.
Yes, Amos?
What do you think is, what's the etiquette for asking somebody to be your friend on Facebook? Or, in other words...
I know what you mean, yeah.
Would I ask you to be my friend after something like this interaction?
Yeah, because we've had an interaction.
Okay.
So I'd probably say, oh yeah, he was in my class, so I'd friend you. But if Jeremy sent me a friend request, I wouldn't.
What if they just asked you to show them houses? You've just met them, you're working with them. Would you become friends with like a client like that? Okay,
that sort of becomes, do you like them or not? And you sort of have to start judging that. What am I going to do with my personal page? What's my big picture view? What am I doing with my business page? Am I going to intertwine them, or do I need to keep them separately? Some people want their personal page to be very private, which you can set it to be private settings, because they say, well, I want to post pictures of my kids and I don't want the whole world to know about it. So it really depends on what's your big picture goal. But a lot of people do, because as real estate agents, you end up spending a lot of time with your clients. So you do end up becoming friends with them. So friending them on Facebook is I think, a pretty normal thing for real estate agents, because you guys really do get to know people, right? And a lot of times at the end of the process, you're friends. Even if it's maybe not, you don't do lunch every week, but you're friends and you're connected, because once you sold somebody their house, they feel very connected to you, because that's right up there with, the big family thing. Was it death, marriage, and buying a house, the 3 stressful things? I don't know, something like that. Well, you tell me, Jeremy.
Right, exactly. Well, mortgages are easy nowadays. I'm Jeremy at FM London.
The sponsor of this year event. So, what else do we want to talk about? Okay, you said check-ins. What else do you think we should cover?
You can check into events too.
Yes.
Yeah, you could check into this event, and it would say something about how you're learning to,
If the Wi-Fi was a
your
little better.
business of blah, 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 realtor or blah, blah.
Is their Wi-Fi bad? Not very powerful? Okay, Karen, you want to take care of that?
Yeah, right. I'm on.
You also don't have to use their Wi-Fi. You can just use your cellular service. Yes.
Would you say events are very useful? Because I can say that I get so many in my feed, I don't even look at them anymore. You know, if I get 20...
You don't look at my invites that I send you?
I don't look at any invites.
I invite you all the time to stuff. I usually look and say, would Darcy be interested in this? And then I'll invite you. I don't just randomly invite people.
It's like 20. And many of them are random. They're like, come see my...
You just sort of...
And I don't even know the person.
You just sort of have to decide for yourself how you're going to handle that. I glance at them all, and if it's somebody that I know, I'll look and see what the event is. But it really depends on what's the title of the event.
Well, it's an accident when I actually find an event of somebody I know, because most of the time I don't look at them.
Yeah, because you get too many of them. Yeah. But I would start scanning them, because seriously, I do send you invites, but I only send you things I think that you would be interested in, like if it's real estate related.
Well, there's a good point. I'm assuming that I'm getting invites, just everybody is sending out to everybody.
A lot of people do that. They just click off the world and they just send it out, and then you'll look at the invite and it'll say, 850 people invited, and you just go, oh my God, and there's 2 people going.
I assume they're not personal. That's my assumption.
Yeah. When they come at that quantity, yeah, you can pretty much guarantee they're not personal. Usually when I send invites out, I'll do it to a Frederick area. So it might end up being like 285 people or something like that, but you can pick up only the people that are in Frederick, or only people that are good friends, or people outside of Frederick. So I do always do the Frederick area. Like I don't like it when somebody invites me to an event in California, because I may get all excited about the event and then it's like, what? It's in Palm Springs? Darn. Right. So I didn't even curse.
Right.
Woohoo. Yeah. So I think you should start skimming them.
Okay.
I really think you should. Take a little bit of time, because you may find some interesting things that you would like to attend, especially if I send it to you. I only send good stuff. Yes.
So, interesting to hear you take on check-ins. I'm assuming that you're being local, because I've also heard, don't check into from a bar at, in Key West, because you've told everybody that nobody's
It's
home.
like posting about your vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't really do it. But, we talked about saying, oh yeah, next week I'm going, or taking the picture of your toes in the sand, because you're telling people that I'm out of town and I'm having a good time, so I'm on green. I'm not even thinking about anything. And to me, when you're on vacation, that's the last thing you should be is on green, because you're someplace that you don't know anybody and you don't know them. And I think it's going on vacation to me is, I'm hypervigilant. So going on vacation to me is like nerve-wracking, because I'm like, is this person dangerous? Why is this person looking at me? Wait a second. I guess I'm hypervigilant. I am hypervigilant. Okay. Yes.
So it's funny, just yesterday I read an article, I think it was in Mashable back in February. Some Facebook spokesperson came out and said the reactions that they have now, the heart, the happy face, the wow, Facebook, the algorithm weighs those heavier than just the like. So a lot of people have been like buzzing about that. They thought that was true, so they just come out and said, yeah, that's true.
They do that. They're ranking them differently. So it used to be, when it was a like, it was just across the board, but now they're sort of breaking them up according to, so this is the way that they can tell what's popular and how can they change them, or how can they add to them, is because they're tracking how often they're used. So something that some people just always hit the like button. I usually will hit one of the emojis. I'll do, like, or wow, or something like that. And I'm not into emojis, because I don't even really use them in my everyday life. But when I do post, I usually use them. I'm not one of those people that do emojis in my posts because I don't remember them. I don't remember to use them. I'm so busy writing. Then I remember, oh yeah, happy face, because I just do exclamation point, and there's 3 or 4 of them. Usually the first sentence gets 1, the second sentence gets 2, the third sentence gets 3, and I don't even realize that I'm doing it. And then I'll look back at it, because some people say, it drives me crazy when people use exclamation points, and I'm like, I use them all the time. But I'm a very excited person. So to me, I speak in explanation points, right?
Yes.
Yes, I'm always like,
all caps.
yeah. No, all caps is yelling. No, yeah, you don't want to do the all caps, because when I see somebody use all caps, I was like, you don't know what you're doing, you don't understand social, and you're yelling at me. So I don't like you, because I don't want somebody yelling at me. But usually it's because they have no idea what they're doing. And they just do everything. They have their caps lock on, and they just do everything in caps. And you sort of go, oh, I feel so sorry for you. And a lot of times I'll send them instant messages, and I'll go, do you realize what all caps mean? It means you're yelling at me. And they go, oh, wow, I didn't know that. But I'm into confrontation, so I usually will jump on people and say, hey, what was that? But don't I do that, Jeremy?
Just to get it going a little bit, right? Just to start the conversation?
No, to actually educate people.
Absolutely.
To let them know.
Start the conversation, let them know what they're doing.
Yeah, and what they can do to be better. Just like the guy who had the grandfather clock coming out of his head. Nobody else told him that. But when I told him that and he looked at it, he goes, oh my God, because you can't stop but look at the grandfather clock out of his head. You can't stop looking at it. It's like you can't, it's always like, yo, grandfather clock, move your head. Okay, so we have 2 minutes left. You can ask me any question you want.
Where'd you get your snakeskin shoes?
I think at Macy's. I think at Macy's. But I only wear shoes that are comfortable. So even though they're really high, they have to be comfortable or I don't buy them.
I'm the same way.
Yes.
I want to say thank you. I think you did a fantastic job today.
Oh, wow. And we have that on tape.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you learned something?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Thank you.
Hashtags.
I did.
I got 8 pages in minutes.
Really?